This video is discussing why LeBron James is actually a better overall player than Michael Jordan. Yes, he is a better player, and I'm going to explain why. There's a couple of reasons why LeBron is actually a better player than Michael Jordan. One reason is because of the way he facilitates the ball, his passing, and getting everybody involved in the game, and his ability to elevate teammates and make them better players. Now, one of the other reasons why he's actually better is because it's kind of an off the court reason. It's because of the way he imposes his power on a franchise. And you could say, well, Michael Jordan didn't have to do that because his talent is where he got it done at. And I understand that argument, but LeBron was a better three-point shooter, or is a better three-point shooter than Michael Jordan. Of course, Michael Jordan played in an era where the three-point shot wasn't as big as it is now. It's bigger now than ever. Everybody's shooting three-pointers now. So yes, the game is different, and yes, Michael Jordan had a better career, but Jordan was a better one-on-one defender. But LeBron's still a really good defensive player. And one thing that stands out to me that makes LeBron better than Michael Jordan is not necessarily this season, where he played with the Lakers. He might not be where he was at one time, but it's his difference making on a team. You got to remember, Jordan played for a team that after he left both times, they were still a playoff team. LeBron, literally on the Cavaliers, him being there puts them number one in the East. Him being away from Cleveland puts them dead last in the East. Now, that is a pretty huge significant difference for one player to make, and I don't know any other time in history that another player has ever made that big of a difference on a franchise. They literally could not stay out of the NBA Finals with him there. Without him there, they can't come within 10, 15 games of even making the playoffs. And that has been the case just about every time he's left Cleveland versus coming to Cleveland. Another thing about the difference he makes, in 2007, he went to the NBA Finals, played for a team who beat the Detroit Pistons, who was a really, really, really bad team. Michael Jordan, when he played with teams that were on that level, there was no way he was getting to the finals. Now, I would argue that the competition Jordan had to deal with in the late 80s, when he could not get to the NBA Finals with Detroit Pistons and the Boston Celtics, was very powerful competition. There was no way one man would be able to turn a whole team around and beat those types of teams. But the game you're looking at now is the Miami Heat 2013-14. It's just an exhibition game, but it doesn't really prove anything. Video games can't prove any points on how great players are. But again, back to the conversation. I do believe LeBron James is overall better player. However, there's some things that Michael Jordan is far better than LeBron at. I'm not knocking that, but another thing that I will say is that even though Kobe Bryant plays a similar style to Michael Jordan, he is not in the GOAT conversation. I just don't think you can put him there because of a few reasons. I think Kobe Bryant lost the Lakers. It's arguable, but I feel like he's a huge reason why they didn't beat the Detroit Pistons the year they lost, because of what he was doing. If LeBron ever costed his team an NBA Finals, is mainly because of what he didn't do. Now, Kobe Bryant, I don't think his field goal percentage is good. I don't think he is the difference maker that Michael Jordan or LeBron is. I'm not saying he's not a difference maker. Kobe Bryant makes a huge difference, and he's definitely on the list of greatest players of all time. He's very ferocious. He's very dangerous. He is, without a doubt, one of the greatest, but I don't think he's up there with LeBron James and Michael Jordan. You can even put other players up there. Guys like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, that's another conversation. I'm going to do another conversation later about the greatest centers of all time. And that's going to be an interesting debate, but the main reason I believe LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan is because the difference, LeBron played on teams that can't do anything without him there. And he took a team that can't do anything without him there all the way to the NBA Finals, even winning one of them. And I'm talking about the Cleveland Cavalier team. The Miami Heat team would have definitely been a playoff team with that roster minus him. Would they be in the finals? I don't think so. You can argue that they would be, even though the game that I'm showing you here is a Miami Heat team. You know, that's just for the heck of it. Now, rather not LeBron James, teams would beat the Chicago Bulls. This Chicago Bulls team from the late 90s, I don't believe so. I think, especially the 72-10 team, which did not have, which was the first of their second three-peat, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken, but or maybe it was the second of their second finals of their second three-peat. But anyway, that's beside the point. Again, LeBron is a better facilitator. He makes other players far better. Jordan makes them better too, but I think LeBron is more at that. And if you're going to win a championship, other players are going to have to be better. And not only that, but his, like I said before, he imposes his power as an authority on a franchise, which means teams will make moves because I don't know if he's telling them to make the moves or not. I know people say he's the coach and the GM. They jokingly say that. I don't know all that stuff, but I do know that players go to teams just because LeBron is there. Rather, he's telling them to do it or just influencing them. I know he's influencing them to do it for sure. And yes, Michael Jordan won more championships, but again, LeBron James elevates the players. I don't know if he still has that same effect this right now, but throughout his career, he has made mediocre players seem really good. If you want to talk about the 2007 Cleveland Cavalier team, guys like Daniel Gibson and it's not even easy to remember all the players on that team, but those players were not that great. No disrespect. They weren't good players. That was not a championship caliber team, a team that could even get to the finals or should have been there. Of course, when LeBron left a few years later, they couldn't even come close to the playoffs. If I'm not mistaken, they were a last place team. Now, Michael Jordan didn't go to a team that was in last place in the Eastern Conference without him there. LeBron James did, and you can make the argument, well, Jordan did have opportunity to do so when he was young, you know, but like I said, I wouldn't even use that argument against Jordan because the competition was different at that time. And to go a little bit off subject, I do believe that the Golden State Warriors that you see today would absolutely beat the later Chicago Bulls team in the series, possibly. That argument is hard to make, though, because last season, that Golden State Warrior team went 7 games with the Houston Rocket teams that wasn't even really playing smart ball to begin with. So I don't even know if you could even say that. There's a big part of me that believes they would lose to this Chicago Bulls team, but I don't really know. It's really hard to say. We'll never know. But my conversation about LeBron James being better than Michael Jordan, I think he is a better player. I think Michael Jordan is more spectacular, more captivating. He has a bigger fan base. He made a bigger epic difference on the game of basketball. He is a better clutch player, but the reason I put LeBron over him as a better overall player is because his field goal percentage is better, his 3-point shooting is better, and he is a far better facilitator. But LeBron kind of sets himself back on his clutch by facilitating. Sometimes he over facilitates. And I believe he doesn't intend to be the clutch player that Michael Jordan is or was. I think he just wants to be a Michael Jordan's difference maker as opposed to a Michael Jordan clutch player. But like I said, you put LeBron on a really bad Cleveland Cavalier team and they are in the NBA Finals. Not okay. Well, that was they weren't a really bad team, but they were not a team that could be in the playoffs. And he has proved that over and over again. I can't think of another time in history where one player was there, they were in the finals, that one player left, they couldn't even come close to getting in the playoff hunt. I mean, that is absolutely crazy. And LeBron James was a part of that twice. All due respect, when he left the Miami Heat, a lot of other players left too. Yes, they were out of the playoffs, but I don't believe they had a lot of the players there. They no longer have guys like Chris Bosh or D Wade was dealing with a lot of injuries, and a lot of the other players were gone. So I wouldn't. I'm not even gonna go there. But Michael Jordan was on playoff teams without him before he could even get to an NBA Finals. And like I said, I do understand teams have different opponents, different competition factor. You do have to factor that in. But as a player, I think LeBron is a better overall player than Michael Jordan. I know that's not a popular opinion. I know a lot of people are going to say, no, he's not. Because I think a lot of people are judging LeBron based on personality-based things. And I don't particularly, I'm not a huge fan of LeBron's personality from a mentality standpoint. He is a lot softer. He does flop. He does sort of complain a lot more. Doesn't have that ferocious trash talk, rip your heart out mentality necessarily. He just wants to play, and when he doesn't get his way, he gets really sad and upset. And I think Jordan has him destroyed in that category. But I'm talking about overall as a player, basketball player. I think Michael Jordan needs more help than LeBron needs to be a playoff team. Now, to be an NBA championship team, I think it's equal. Each team, respectively, needs a lot of help. And I know a lot of people are going to say, here's one argument that you can't make. They say Michael Jordan has more championships, and he never lost an NBA championships. Michael Jordan did not go to 8 or 9 consecutive NBA championships either. There's a lot of arguments that I don't believe that Chicago Bulls team would beat the Akeem Olajuwon Houston Rocket team that won in 2004 and 2005. I don't believe they would have beaten them twice. Maybe once, but I don't believe they would have won 2 series against that team. So he didn't go to enough to really make a good, compelling argument. And another thing is, Michael Jordan, the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2007 went to an NBA Finals that they really shouldn't have went to. If you take a Michael Jordan early team like one of the teams that got beat by the Detroit Pistons or the Celtics in '86, for example, they had guys out there like George Gervin, guys that were a little bit washed up. I think Charles Oakley and Bill Cartwright might have been on that team. I think John Paxson was a young player on that team. There is no way a team like that would have had any shot at defeating a team like the Los Angeles Lakers at that time. So in a way, for that argument, Michael Jordan, he was saved by the fact that he didn't even go to the finals at that time. So I think that's a bad argument because single-handedly difference making, LeBron is more than what Michael Jordan is. Like I said, the main reason I put him past Jordan is because he can go to a team that isn't even close to a playoff team, and then they're in the NBA Finals with him. That is a difference that Michael Jordan has never proven because the team that he was on when he left, they were still a playoff team, and they were still one of the better teams in the East. Not a championship team, but LeBron James went to the Cleveland Cavaliers and left. Both times he left, they were like, if not the worst team in the Eastern Conference, one of the worst 2 or 3 teams in the Eastern Conference every time he left. So just based on the difference making as a player being there versus him not being there, LeBron is better than what Michael Jordan is. LeBron is a better player in that aspect. Therefore, I do consider LeBron James a better player than Michael Jordan. Kobe Bryant, not even in the conversation. I don't see any evidence that supports that Kobe Bryant is on their level from elevating players around him, being a really good facilitator, which Jordan wasn't a great facilitator. I don't think you have to be. You just have to be great somewhere. But as an overall, all-around player, LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. And Kobe Bryant is not even close to either one of the two. And I'm going to go deeper into that conversation in a later video. Now, looking at this exhibition game between the Miami Heat and the Chicago Bulls, that's the game that I decided to show because it was the Chicago Bulls on their probably best team they've ever had on, with LeBron playing on the best team that he was ever on. And I think team arguments are very different than actual player arguments. And I'm going to go ahead and end this video right there. But again, I accept any challenge for this argument. But again, Michael Jordan is better as a clutch player. But overall and all around, he's not the rebounder. He's not the facilitator. He doesn't have the field goal percentage. He doesn't have any of that stuff that LeBron James has. And that's the end of this video and this conversation.